Welcome to the M Factor Live, a space where art of movement meets wisdom from the heart. My name is Emme, and I welcome you to another episode of Daily Life Yoga Teachings for Uncertain Times and helping to get your yoga practice to the next level. So, today's practice, I called it Restore and Relax because I would like to teach you about the different energies that yoga can provide us with, and for you to learn how, by changing the way how you practice, the intensity, the speed, the movements, that we can change the way what we get out of our practice. As you have seen, maybe this week, if you have followed some of the practices, they are all slightly different. And what I am trying to do is teach you a little bit of a glimpse of all the things that yoga has to offer. So now, most of us, we pick our yoga classes according to what we like. We like the more vinyasa or more core power-oriented yoga that is physical, or some of us like more the spiritual yoga. But I would like for you to understand that yoga is a holistic system. And if something is holistic, it means that there are many different parts that belong to a system that creates something that is whole. So if we pick and choose according to what we like, we will always just receive a part. We will be disconnected, disjointed, and that's really not what yoga is about. So I invite all of you to start thinking about how this practice that hopefully I can inspire you to practice every day on your mat, how can it serve me what I need in that moment in time? Some of us feel better when we sweat. Some of us feel better when we relax and release. Some of us feel better when we are totally quiet, and some of us need constant stimulation because that's what we're used to. So our yoga practice is a path to start noticing things, to be aware of what is going on, and to actually look at why am I picking this and why am I not picking this, and how can I create a practice that can give me what I need in that moment in time. Yeah. So today, restoring and relaxing. A lot of times when we feel tense, it is not a physical tenseness. The physical tenseness is a manifestation of something that starts in our mind, in our heart, in our emotional body. And the experience that we have there manifests as tension, as fear, as anxiety, as not being able to breathe, as restriction. All of this is what we feel. And our yoga practice can help us change that. Now, the way to change that is to go inward. Not to look for that on the outside and constantly have to grasp for something that we pull to ourselves. That happens when we always need somebody to lead us. That happens when we have a constant need for input. So today's class, I would like to take you inward. And for some of you, this will be triggering. And I think that you will feel things will come up. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of judgment. And all of this is really the opposite of what we teach in yoga. However, this is a lot harder than it sounds like. So going inward is not just closing our eyes and here I am all centered in myself. I don't think it is like this. And I think that it is a constant process of practice. And the more you practice, the better you get, allowing yourself to come into this balanced place. Yeah. So that's what we will do today, and I hope you enjoy this. I hope you practice with me. And the intention of these classes are not for you to just simply look at me, what I do here, and do the best you can on your mat and copy it and try to give just movements. My intention is to teach you something that you can take into your practice when you're not practicing with me, that helps you grow your personal practice. Because the freedom that we have when actually the calm and the peace and the confidence and resilience to deal with a crisis like we're dealing right now doesn't come through always having to catch this somewhere else. It comes on the inside, and that is a practice. And so I hope that every time you come here into one of my classes, that you can take something with you, something that is a small change, and that small change will create a different trajectory in your life. Yeah. So before we start, I want to mention one more thing. Very often we almost made it sound like we should be able to do these things. We just sit down and we focus on our breath and we meditate and we do our yoga practice on the mat. I think that a lot of individuals, a lot of yoga practitioners struggle with this a lot, and it doesn't make us feel good. It makes us feel like as if something is not right with us. If we can't meditate, or if we're not calm and balanced, if we're not strong enough for the asanas, if we are not mobile enough. There is this undercurrent of, I'm not a good yogi if I can't do something. And unfortunately, a little bit the yoga world and the fitness world portrays that. Yeah, I want you to have permission to be okay with whatever comes up on your mat. I want you to learn, I want to invite you to learn to not judge, to not be hard on yourself, to not ask that question, why can't I do this? This is a wrong question. It doesn't belong into our personal yoga practice. The question that belongs into our yoga practice is, what does this teach me about myself? Why can't I do this? Where does this come from? Where does this lead me? Why do I want this? Yeah, this is really important. If we learn to practice yoga, not just for the sake of performing exercises, and I hope you who hear this, you are here because of that, because you realize that yoga is not chasing postures. And for some people, and I would believe a big chunk of people who practice yoga, it is that. And that's okay, because everybody needs to choose. But here in these classes, these exercises, the movements, the physical part is a lesson. And it is something that hones our physical, our mental, and our emotional experience. And that's what my intention is, to bring this together for you. Yeah? All right. So I would like for you to find your seat. This seat may be comfortable. Comfortable does not mean that we are hunched and crunched in our sofa. But it also doesn't mean that we sit in a tense position. And so I want you to start learning, where is your seat where you can sit upright with an extended spine, with space in our body to be able to breathe, with an experience of freedom, if that's possible right now, and not be in pain or in any discomfort, yet at the same time not sit against the back, or with the help of something that lets us crunch into this position. Yeah. So maybe homework for next time is to see, where is my seat? Yeah. I've talked about this in the other classes a lot. So I am using Hero's pose today. As you see, I'm sitting on 2 blocks, and this is a really good position for me to sit upright for a moment and focus inward, because my body doesn't give me any signs of discomfort and pain. So you sit on a chair, you can sit in cross-legged if that's your seat of choice, you can sit on the floor against the wall. It needs to be a place where you can be calm for a moment without having to work too hard. And that's not going to be easy for most of us, because we just don't sit like this anymore in our daily lives. And here's the time to practice that. Okay? So find your seat. Take a moment and relax your hands onto your thighs, wherever that is in this moment in time. Before you close your eyes, I want you to really feel the length of the spine one more time. And then slowly close your eyes. Soften your face. And we take a moment to arrive in our seat. I want you to notice what happens when we become quiet. Some of you will feel the nervousness and the antsiness, and some of you will feel like you want to go somewhere immediately. I want you to see if you can stay with that and just watch it, observe it, and be with it. Some of us have been here and have trained ourselves already to sit quietly. And slowly and gradually there is this transformation where we can focus away from all the stuff that is on the outside. Focus away from the thoughts that some of you might hear pretty loudly right now. And start to see, is there a path for me to focus inward? What does that mean? To focus inward. Are we doing something? Is our mind having a job that it can fulfill, because that's what it's waiting for? I want you to see if the job and the task could be to just observe what is in this moment in time. And whatever comes up is okay. Start to notice and observe without judging, without putting a label onto it, without trying to relieve something or figure something out, without evaluating yourself or my words. But see if you can place all the focus of what is coming up on the inside and what is going on in this moment in time. You might notice that there's a habit that you go to, a habit of pushing things away, or maybe distracting yourself, or maybe immediately trying to look for something else. That is called grasping. Let's see if we can sit for another moment and don't grasp. Being in this state where all there is to observe is a wonderful practice of yoga, because it helps us to notice that actually we can be with whatever is going on within us without running away, without wanting to distract myself, without having to relieve myself. I actually have the grace within me to be with what is in this moment in time. I can breathe. I have control over this one thing, my breath. And everything else we don't have control of, we let go. And this is a very empowering energy of freedom, that you know that you can be with whatever comes up. And so you see, we came to our breath. And maybe slowly and gradually you noticed that you actually can breathe. And you can stay focused on your breath. And you can notice the rhythm of the flowing in and exhale. You can feel that this breath makes us alive. We're still here. We can feel that this breath connects us with ourselves and with our internal body, with the layers that we usually don't pay as much attention to. Right now in here, you and I, we pay attention. And that is something that you'll hear in yoga classes a lot. Start to pay attention. I want you to ask yourself, what does that mean to you? How does that look like? And how can I do this in my practice? To pay attention to what is. And you might have noticed that it changes the energy within us and around us. And that we actually can sit for a moment. So let's slowly take 3 more breaths, full cycles. Open our eyes over the tip of our nose, just gaze forward. And notice the difference, how when the eyes are open, we have a lot more input going on immediately. Just close your eyes for one more moment and see the difference, yeah? Feel the difference in energy if the eyes are open and if the eyes are closed. So while we practice today, I want you to see if your focus can stay a little bit more inward. And after these like 7 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes of sitting, I want you to feel your body. And most of you will feel you want to move. There is this everything hurts feeling for some of you. And for some of you it might be the feet. And for some of you it might be the hips or the spine. It's this feeling of I can't be still. That's a wonderful sign. It's good to know this. It's good to understand, wow, I can't sit for 5 minutes. So what does this teach me about myself? And this will lead you to the path of the practice. It will lead you to that, what we need to do. Yeah? So we're not judging this. We are not saying, I don't like it, I hate it, I don't want to be part of this, I don't like this type of yoga. I want you to see this and say, hey, okay, I can feel that this is triggering something in my body, tension. It is triggering this being the opposite of what we want. And we have to ask ourselves why. Why can't we sit? And maybe our bodies are just not prepared to sit upright and to have the strength and the balance and the stability to sit for a moment without being in pain. And that's another reason why we practice yoga. All right, let's slowly come out of your seat, actually, because I know every one of us is in a different position. I was in hero's pose, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch out my legs. And maybe if you sit in cross-legged position, you want to do this too. So I'm slowly creating movement in my feet again. And then we will start on our back today. Good. So let's lay down on our mat with our knees bent. Feel the difference. And some of you might say, well, why can't we just lay on our back? This feels so much better. Because there are many reasons why, but we want to learn to breathe and focus and meditate in a seated position, because laying down triggers a different program in the body, and the release and the energy that you feel right now when you can totally let go is a wonderful way to feel the difference between the energies that are in our body. So we need both. We need to be able to sit upright, and we need to be able to also release and let go. So in this moment, feel the connection of your body on the ground. And we start by very softly moving our spine with the rhythm of our breath. And so when I inhale deeper, I can expand my chest, I can arch my back, and when I exhale, I can slowly draw this energy back in, engage my core a little bit, and tilt my pelvis backward. And this movement forth and back is a wonderful way to start to warm our body for movement and to feel which parts of our body need attention. But today we're staying inward. With my inhale, I arch my back. With my exhale, I round my back. Notice if we can do this with very little effort. And then, if you like, slowly go into wider positions in both ends. Only if that's what the body prompts you to, yeah? Otherwise, just go into a slight soft movement. Every exhale is another opportunity to release, to connect, to ground myself, because that's what we need when we feel anxious, when we feel not in control. The uncertainty of the days that we're going through right now is triggering that, a feeling of not being in control. But these movements right now in here, and the experience of it, is totally controlled. So you stay with your movements exactly there where you feel stable and controlled. Beautiful. And then slowly bring the knees into your chest. And start with a soft, small little circular motion. Let your hands do the movements of the legs. Good.